Hi everybody, it's Burton's Middle Class Review for the first weekend of September 2019. Happy Father's Day, gentlemen. So, this issue of Burton's Middle Class Review is regarding a question someone asked me recently. A gentleman asked me, would you buy blue chip shares? Is now the time to buy because my interest rate I'm getting on my money in the bank is garbage. And then someone interrupted and they piped up and just said, oh, you should buy Tesla shares, they're the future. Well, I'm going to declare war on BS right now, and there's been a lot of stuff said about Tesla and Elon Musk, which is complete BS, and I like to deal with facts, not emotions, so I'm going to get straight into it. Let's say you want to buy a blue chip share instead of having money in the bank. Let's choose a big Australian company that we all know, like BHP. They produce coal and petroleum predominantly. And a lot of people will say, oh, but that's not the future, everyone's going out of coal. Well, I disagree. Number one, and here's why I think a share like BHP, now this is not, firstly I will say, this is not a share buy recommendation or anything like that. Get your own financial advice, etc. But I'm just comparing shares and companies at the moment. Anyway, BHP. Okay, they've had multi-billion-dollar profits year on year for a long time now. Secondly, BHP, its dividend yield is quite good. It's not the highest dividend yield you get out there, but it's quite good. They had a good return this year and it's fully franked. That means that the taxes paid by the company to the Australian government before they pay you, the investor or shareholder, the dividend, okay? So the money you get from them, you don't have to pay any more tax on it at the end of the financial year. The tax has already been paid, and that's what they mean by a fully franked dividend. The last time I checked their share price, I think it was $37.29, and they had a dividend yield of nearly 4.5%, something like that. So 4.5% dividend yield is a lot better than, say, 1.5% in a bank account. And also the money in the bank, if you're earning 1.5%, let's say you pay 30 cents on the dollar tax, well, your real return's only basically a bit over 1%. It's not very good. So BHP, they do make products that people want. Yes, coal and petroleum are used. You can't make steel without coal. Most of our power generated is from coal. And I don't think that will be changing in the near future at all. Now, some people say, oh, but we'll have renewables. Well, I was reading a scientific report recently that said by the year 2040, at the very most, we'll have 4% of power produced by things like solar and wind power. We'll still be using coal predominantly to make electricity, okay? Or for the world's energy. So, yeah, all these renewables like, Elon Musk and his companies are making, well, it's a very insignificant amount. BHP, if you take these dividends and just reinvest them year on year on year, even if the share price doesn't go up, you're still going to have a nice wad of cash there. Let's say you're saving up for your kids' university or just want to invest for their future and you're not a big speculator or gambler. Something like a share like BHP is going to give you an okay rate of return without a huge amount of risk. But of course with shares, there's always risk. That's true. But if you just reinvest those dividends year on year on year, I'm pretty sure you're going to have a better rate of return than, say, buying Tesla shares or something. Now let's look at Tesla in comparison. Is it a company that's making massive profits and that sort of thing? No, they're not. Now I was reading in the Financial Review last year, they had a $1.2 billion loss just for 1 year. That's right, $1.2 billion loss. BHP made multi-billion-dollar profits, whereas Tesla had a $1.2 billion loss, yet Elon Musk was still considered a billionaire. Why is that? Well, I know for certain his companies that he's in charge of have been bailed out at least 4 times by the US taxpayer, by the government. So they've borrowed money to bail this guy out. It's just ridiculous. The other thing is too about Tesla, their products suck. The quality is poor. The fit and finish on their cars is garbage compared to cars that are in their price range. Check out a company, there's basically a taxi company in China earlier this year. They actually paid to have 3 massive billboards in New York Times Square in New York City complaining about the lack of service they've received from Tesla. Why is this? Well, because they have a fleet of 278 Teslas, yes, these electric cars, and over 20% of them are broken down, are not on the road. They are losing massive amounts of money, this company. So of course they're going to complain. The average service time for them to get service on their cars is 45 days. You imagine if you had a Toyota and it took 45 days to get any form of service on these cars, you would be absolutely spewing. So you've got a company which is going broke. The cars are crap quality. They have electromechanical problems which have caused failures. Also, they catch fire. There have been reports of these vehicles catching fire. And here's the big one that tells me it's a crap company and they're not the future. They're not going to do well as an investment as such. Tesla's prices in Australia, I think back in March 2019, they dropped their prices on their cars by up to $80,000. That's right, $80,000 just on one of their models in their range. That's a shocking price collapse, basically. So this is not a company where their products are in a massive demand and consumers just jumping to buy them and queuing up like crazy. If you're dropping prices that much, there's something seriously wrong. So guys, as a comparison, look at a company that makes real profit. Don't buy into a company where you think, oh, maybe in the future we'll make a profit. Get real returns now. Invest for the long term, as they say. And try and get ahead and don't fall for the cult of electric Jesus, Elon Musk, as he's known. You know, if a guy's still a billionaire and his company's losing that much money, if I was an investor, I'd be running in the exact opposite direction. But anyway, that's just me. Do your own research, get your own financial advice, and as always, stay awesome.